What's shaking, Chewy Nation? ChewbaccaLemma here, back with another Madden 19 Ultimate Team video. And today we're going to look at the Primetime Performers, Julian Edelman and Reshad Jones. Are they not good? Are they as bad as they look? I don't know. We're going to look at them. We're going to see where they rank at their respective positions, and then you make the call. Are these cards any good? Are they worth picking up? Or are they just cards that are throwaway and you're not going to touch? Let me know. Well, let's go ahead and get into it, starting with Julian Edelman. Leading off, Julian Edelman here with the speed. Looking at speed on Julian Edelman at 87. 87 speed. Not fast. It's not great. That does put him tied for 48th at his position. But in the words of Mutt Guru, just throw on Sprinter. You power him up with Sprinter. You're already at 90. Maybe you run a Patriots-themed team. You're at 91, 92. Not that hard. Just, easy. Throw it on. Easy peasy. 87 is obviously not fantastic. It is Edelman. You don't expect his speed to be absolutely amazing, but his acceleration is tied for 4th, so maybe there's something to get out of that. Maybe in these short routes he's actually going to be pretty good. Maybe skipping jumping, because I know you guys don't really care about that too much on an Edelman card. Catching at 92 does put him at tied for 7th, so that's pretty good. It doesn't really matter too much. 92 is good enough. I don't think you really care too much, as long as it's not like 70, 92, plenty good. He can catch the ball. Should not be dropping it if it's thrown right at him. That's good. Next up, catching traffic. Way more interesting because this puts him 2nd with 94 catching traffic, only behind DeAndre Hopkins. So that is actually something that I can get behind. I love that catching traffic. He is obviously a slot receiver. You throw it to him, maybe you can kim it up a little bit. You can easily get that to 97, 98 if you run West Coast powered up. So it's a card that you can definitely do some damage with. So I think that's pretty good. He does have 98 kimmed up, which is the same as DeAndre Hopkins. So that is very good. Next up, Spec Catch. 90 Spec Catch, it does put him tied for 17th, but it's definitely not a slouch. He can catch some, he can get some nice animations there. It's not terrible. The problem with that is just that he's 5'10", so he's probably not going to get the best animations, but he does have perfect traits, it's not terrible. 90 Spec Catch, I think, is pretty nice on an Edelman. I think that we can agree. 90's pretty good. And we have the short route running. The short route running at 94, tied for 1st in the entire game, which does mean he does get playmaker, which is good. He gets the playmaker, which might be the Kim of choice for you if you do power him up. You can't really say too much about this except it is very good because it is tied for 1st at the position. So yeah, I think that's pretty solid. Medium route running at 92 puts him tied for 2nd at the position. So another really solid, well, way better than solid, fantastic route runner. So I think that the medium route running with the short route running does mean he will be having some nice crisp routes. So you're really going to like him. At least he's going to get to the spot that you want. He might get there slow, but he'll have some nice cuts along the way. Next up, skipping the deep route running because you're probably not using him for that, we are going to talk about the run block. You don't see it on the card art, but the run block on Edelman is very good at 68. I will tell you this, that is tied for 3rd, obviously great. His impact block is down in the 40s, so if you're more of an impact type of guy, you think that's more important, then it's really not something that is too exciting on this card. But if you believe the run block actually matters and is the stat that you're looking for, receivers, 68 is very good. One of the best of all the wide receivers, as it is tied for 3rd. So I don't know. It depends on what you think on that. For the overlook, so I thought I would add this in. Something that you overlook when you look at this card. Obviously, the run block might stick out to you, but I think is his traits. He does not make aggressive catches, but he has everything else. He has clutch, brace for all hits, fights for extra yards, makes rags, makes possession catches, doesn't drop open passes, makes sideline catches, has a high motor. He has it all. Also penalty discipline. So he's got, for the traits, that is something that if you believe in the traits, if you think those are something that you really want on your cards, Julian Edelman does have that. Now, obviously he's very expensive, but he does have something that is interesting, I think, having all those traits. So there you go. Mr. Edelman. Final rating on this card is kind of on Julian Edelman. Obviously not too exciting because of that speed. If I had to compare him, I would say he would be very comparable to Primetime Performer Jarvis Landry. That's kind of weird because they're back-to-back weeks, but I think he's very, very similar. Jarvis has him by a couple speed. Jarvis has better impact block. Edelman has better run block. It's a very, very similar card. It's crazy, actually, how similar those cards actually are. So that's my best comparison. If you like the Landry, you probably like Edelman. If you like Edelman, you probably like Landry. They're very similar cards. But for me, it's kind of It's not someone that you're going to want to probably pay 700, 600, 700K on because of that 500K quick sell. So Edelman, I'm sorry, but man, I actually don't hate you, but at that price, I don't love you. Moving on to the second one, Reshad Jones from the Miami Dolphins. So 2 weeks in a row, we got the Jarvis Landry. I believe that was last week, and now we get the Reshad Jones. So it's interesting. He also has that 87 speed. So talking about the speed, 87, which puts him tied for 16th. It's not as bad as the Edelman because remember, Edelman at the position was like tied for 48th, tied for 16th, 87, not as concerning as a defensive back, as well as he's 6'1". So at a safety position, I don't really think that is as big a deal. Still, you would like it to be higher, but I think it's pretty solid considering what the other attributes look like, which we'll go ahead and talk about now with the acceleration tied for 4th, which I didn't mention. So tied for 16 speed, tied for 4th acceleration with 90. Pretty solid. Moving on to tackling, 87 tackle. And if you know safeties, that's really good. That's actually tied for 3rd as a tackler. So he's really, really good. Not quite yet. He'll get secure tackler, but maybe his next card or the card after. He'll be one of the first safeties to get that, which is going to be pretty awesome, as well as, you know, you can get many other chems as well. But that's one that is obviously very, very good. Not much else to say. It's tied for 3rd, so one of the best tacklers, which as he should be. Moving on to Playrec. Playrec at 93 is actually tied for 1st, so you're starting to see exactly how this card is going to play. Tied for 1st, Playrec. He's going to be fantastic against the run, and with that, you know, acceleration with that tackle, and now Playrec tied for 1st with 93. One of the best in the game, well, the best, tied for the best in Playrec, so that is definitely very, very good. And then we have the Pursuit. So looking at the Pursuit at 92, it looks really good. Is it good based on the position? Yes, of course it is. It is tied for 3rd at the position. Reshad Jones has the Pursuit. He's got the Playrec. He's got the tackle. He's got fantastic excel. His speed is not terrible for a safety. We're really starting to like this card. It's looking really solid. Again, Pursuit, 92, tied for 3rd. But of course, that is not everything you have to look at. Man coverage, I usually would skip this if I didn't think it was something to note, but it is 84, which doesn't look great, but that's tied for 11th. With the 87 speed, it is not going to be great against a lot of these top wide receivers, so you're not going to want to use him in that way, but he still is serviceable. 87 is solid if you put lockdown on him, if that's what you choose to do, which you could do. It's not necessary. I'm not sure it's the best. You can get that up. Oh, sorry, it's 84. You get up to 87. You can make it a little bit better. It's not going to get to 90 unless you're running Dolphins and doing all kinds of stuff with your chems, but it's still pretty solid. So it's of note, but definitely not why you would pick up this card. And we got zone coverage. So coverage, man, not great. Zone 92 looks fantastic. Tied for 6, 92 zone. There's a lot of great safeties with great zones. So Reshad Jones is in this spot, though, that he's one of the best, if not the best, run stuff safeties in the game, and he also has 92 zone. So that's really, really good. 87 speed is always what you're kind of thinking, you know, is that fast enough? But the zone itself, very, very good. And then we got hit power. Hit power, of course, at 94, you see, is actually pretty darn good. It is tied for 1st with flashback Cam Chancellor, as it should be. He is always has great hit power in Madden, and that does not disappoint here with 94. So if you like laying the boom, you're gonna do it. He has the big hitter trait. It's fantastic. He's really just fantastic against the run. It's crazy. For his overlooked attribute, Reshad Jones, you don't see it there. He has 74 block shed, which maybe doesn't sound great, but that actually puts him 2nd at the safety position, at the strong safety position, only behind Steve Atwater. But it is important to note that he is second, but he's also 10 behind said Atwater. So I'm not sure how much you believe in block shed. I'm starting to believe less and less specifically about that, but 74 is obviously very, very good. With the current patch, I don't think it's quite as important as other attributes, but it is something to note. And again, it goes back to the point that this is a fantastic run stuff safety. And for my final rating, I would say he is very comparable to Steve Atwater. So if you've used him, you probably would like Reshad Jones. They both have that 500K quick sell, so they're both going to be very, very expensive. It really just comes down to your personal preference. I don't think he's too different from him to say if you have Atwater to move on. If you're trying to choose between the two, I don't think there's much different there. Atwater has a little bit more speed. Again, the block shed you might like more. I think the Atwater might be my choice a little bit more than Reshad Jones, but still they're both very, very good, and I think this card is very, very good overall based on a safety. I would give this one a much bigger, not Edelman. I'm a big thumbs up to this card. The only problem is his quick sell price, which makes it so expensive. The fact that he's limited, he's, you know, that 500K quick sell, he's going to be so expensive, so there's really no reason to use him on your team when there's so many safeties out there, like an Adrian Amos out there that you can run that many people like for much cheaper, and you can get the team of the week one. I know it's expensive, but it's definitely cheaper than this card, so it's something to think about, obviously. But if you like Dolphins, if you want to run him on a team, you can use training in a week to power him up, like I did with my Honey Badger from last week. So, oh, speaking of that, that makes me think that last week we didn't get Jarvis because that was the Honey Badger and Carson Wentz. So that is something to, I guess, fix in this video because I mentioned that earlier. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We got the Thanksgiving promo coming soon, but I wanted to go ahead and discuss these cards. I like discussing cards. I like seeing where they rank and stuff, and some people say they really like it, so I'll keep doing it. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll have a lot of Thanksgiving videos coming out as well, so I'm excited. Thank you guys so much. If you liked it, a like is appreciated. That's all I got. ChewbaccaLemma out.